Kathy here from KathysKuteKreations, and welcome to week 3 of the Fort Worth Fabric Sew Along. We're more than halfway done now because we've only got another week. So today we're going to do a star block. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you what I've got cut out here on the board. Okay, finally I'm going to start the video. I went to get my machine turned on and everything, and I thought, you know what, I can't remember when the last time I had it cleaned out, so I thought, I better just clean it out, because normally when my machine needs to be cleaned out, now this is my specific Elissimo baby lock. It actually starts making noises as if there is a nick on the needle or something's going on. So I thought, well, I'm going to beat it to the punch. So I went ahead and cleaned it out, and it's a good thing I did because it was literally filthy. Not only did it take the Q-tips to clean it, which is normally what I would clean it with, but I had to use my grips, and this is what grips are. These are one of my favorite pair. This is what a grip is, because it locks right here. Let me get you a little closer. See these little things right here? Okay, let me flip this over for you so you can see the back of it. And what it does is it actually grips it and locks it, so that when you've got a grip on something, whether it be fabric or whatever, taking a picture here, let me back up a bit. You cannot open them. They will not open. You have got to pull up to get them to open. Okay? So this is what I used. But then again, let me show what else I used. I used this right here, which is actually a dental pick, which you can buy these. And I would recommend that if you wanted to, you could buy them. And people use them for their sewing. And so when I couldn't get something, I got inside and went like this and moved the dust so that I could grab it with the grippers. Okay? So anyway, that's what I did when I was cleaning it. But let's go ahead and start on week 3. So we have, to begin with, our A, which is our background fabric. Excuse me one second. Okay, we have 4 3 by 5.5 inch rectangles. We have 4 3 by 3 inch squares. We have fabric C, E, and F, which is our pink. I'm going to call them pink. If y'all think that that's red for you, that's fine. It's red, but it's pink to me. The 2 pink, and then the white with the pink kisses and hugs on it, little things. Each one of those squares is 3 by 3. So let's go ahead and start. The first thing it wants us to use is our rectangles and our square for F. And I have these in order, so it's A, C, E, F. This way it's easier to keep track of it. Now, if you've marked yours, that's fine. So let's begin. Okay, so did everybody scream into the camera and say, wait, you don't have them in order? Okay, I didn't have them in order. I don't even know why I said I did. So now I have them in order. This is C with the hearts, the little hearts, the white ones and the pink hearts. This is E, whoops, excuse me. And there's 2 of these and 2 of these. This is with the pink hearts and then the solid right there. Then there's 8 of these. All right. So we're going to take the 8 of these with these here, and we're going to make flying geese. That's why you need 8 of these, because you're going to need 1 on the right and 1 on the left. So let's go ahead and make these little tiny, well, I call them tiny, but let's just make these flying geese, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to make 1 of each, and you guys can make the rest, and then we're going to join it together so that the video is not that long for you. Now the first thing you're going to do is take your triangles, oh my gosh, your squares, and we're going to go from one corner to the other. We're going to mark it because this is our sewing line. If I can get mine to mark here. I'm just doing mine in pink. You can do it in whatever color you want. All right, do it to all of yours if you're going to change stitches. I'm just going to do this one square for you guys. Now, make sure that when you put it on, you put it correctly. Alrighty, so you want the mark, which is a good thing here, or the square, okay? So your mark's going to come across here. Don't put it this way. Do not do it like that. Well, I guess you could. It would just be upside down if you did. Think about it. If you did it that way, it's still the same way. But what I do is, the reason I do it this way, and y'all can do whatever your preference is, I do it this way so that I do not have to start in the corner when I sew. I want to start on the edge here. The plate that I use for my sewing machine is the Zigzag Plate. Let me show you. So, some of you will not have, those that have only straight stitch sewing machines won't have a zigzag plate. This is what the plate looks like when it's not a zigzag. It's literally a circle, nothing else. But my plate is an oval, so it has a tendency to pull the fabric down underneath it. especially when mine is dirty. It does that. So, therefore, I make sure that I always start up here at the top. And then when we get done, we will cut the excess off. And if you like real tiny little half square triangles, when you've sewn this and completed it, go over and sew it again. And I'll do it on this one here. And I'll show you some of my, I do have some little tiny half square triangles. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. Probably going to have to make a little square or combine them and make a bigger square, like some type of star square. But let me show you what I'm talking about for all of those that want to go ahead and do that, because that's what maybe they just want to learn something new. Those that don't want to do it, don't worry about it, okay? I mean, just skip this part that I'm going to show you. But let me go ahead and sew it first, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, keep it in mind that if you're using your scraps and you're using directional, then you're going to need to pay attention so that your pieces don't come out incorrectly, all right? And I went ahead and put a line on this side here. And remember, when you sew, you're not looking at the line, okay? You're looking out here further. Don't be looking at your needle. Let's put it that way. All right, so now I'm going to cut it. Then I'm going to go to the next line that I have sewn over here, and I'm going to repeat the process. All right, so this is the film I'm slipping in because Lord only knows I was having issues with the camera, which is actually the iPhone. I don't have the same kind of fabric. This was the other little white with the red, so that's what I'm using because I already used up all the other. I got as far as sewing this and this. Okay, so now let me explain. I go a quarter inch in, so all I do is just put my line on the line, or if you want to use scissors, you can cut it with the scissors. Doesn't make any difference. And now my rotary blade is sharp because, you know, you'll see in the film, I mean, well, you'll hear it in the film. My daughter came over, she got it fixed. All right, so this is where you have your little half square triangle that I was talking about. This is for those that want to do it. You don't have to do this. Now, this is just extra, and I will just do this here. And you can make this a 2-inch square when all is said and done. Okay. And of course, I didn't iron any till the tail end, so all I did was pressed it with this before I did the next one, and I did the same exact thing on the next one that I did on this one. So all I'm going to do is stitch down here and stitch down there. Now normally I wouldn't have the time to come back and do all this because usually I'm sitting at night doing all of my editing. And so when I'm doing it at night, as soon as I get done editing the entire thing, I turn around and I upload it. But since I did this on Saturday, I have the time now to come back up here to the sewing room and go ahead and redo this so that you guys can see it for all the newbies. Because I know I have some new people that maybe haven't seen this. I'm going to go ahead and get that lock block. I don't know which way. I mess it up every time I say it. So let me go ahead and get it out of the drawer, and I'm going to show it to you to cut half square triangles. And you can buy this tool over at Fort Worth Fabric Studios. They have it on their website. Now what we do is we cut this one. Either side, you can do the 1/4 inch. Like I said, you can either cut it with your rotary cutter or your scissors. Now, open this up. And then I'm going to show you how to use this. Now, this isn't part of the video because keeping in mind, this is just an extra little piece that's coming off of our flying geese. Okay? This is, if you're saving all this fabric for when you get done doing these kits and you don't know what to do with it, don't throw that fabric away. You can create something else. So here's what your flying geese will look like. Of course, it won't be in these colors because that's not the right colors, but just to give you an idea. So we got that done. And just to show you, now this tool, let me back up a little bit. So this tool came from Fort Worth Fabric Studios, all right? And what you're going to look at is this piece here, which is the frosted piece. That goes into the groove. And even though this is a big square, it can still do a little bitty, and it would go this way. It's locked into the little spot there, as you can see when I move it. Okay, the frosted went over where the 1/4 inch is. And so what I do is I take the minimum off of my square. And I normally use a rotating mat, but you don't have to. You don't have one. Rotate your little square there. And you can iron it. You don't have to do what I just did. I mean, I didn't even iron it. And I'm making this a 2-inch block. That's all I'm doing. And then I have two little squares here to use for another time. All right, and that's it. They're just 2 little half square triangles. And it's been used out of Fort Worth Fabric Studios fabric and their tool, the block lock. And like I said, you can buy that on their website. They have it there. They still have it today. Even though they didn't sell it for this kit, they do have it for future kits or for past kits. And that's all I wanted to show you. If you're going to use up the fabric, it's easier. And the reason I say it's always easier to create this little square from the one that you're working with versus taking 2 little bitty pieces like this and try to sew them together. All right? And I know lots of people don't want to deal with small stuff, so don't worry about it if you're not even interested. And I'm going to slip this in real quick. It's not very long, but I just didn't want you to miss out on what I did for anybody that's new and would like the idea. Alrighty, so you'll have 4 flying geese, and then the next thing they want us to do, I set it over here on the table so you could see it, is they want us to take these 4 squares and they want us to put them opposite each other, and we're going to sew them together. So you all know how to do that. I'll go ahead and I'll chain stitch that. So I'll do these 2 and then these 2, and I'll put them together. Alrighty, so I was going to go ahead and I was going to clean out that that blade out of my oh gosh, out of my rotary cutter. I cannot get that. I don't know if it's a screw or a bolt, but I can't get it loose. My hands aren't strong enough, so my daughter's going to come over later. I'm going to have her do it for me. Well, I tell you what. And I know that I did not tighten that on there because I can't get them off. So I know I wouldn't have tightened it, you know, to avoid the blade to come out of it or something, because it's not going to work like that. It doesn't come off like a regular blade. So I don't know how the heck it got so tight. That's going to be a disadvantage of that rotary cutter for me if I can't get that bolt, screw, whatever the heck. I think it's a bolt. If I couldn't get that off. Let's open these. I'm going to go ahead and iron them with my little thing here. I call this my, well, actually this is made out of wood, okay, and then it was painted. So I'm going to use this little wooden iron, that's what I call it, to open these, because that's what I did with those other flying geese too. Just remember, whichever way you're going, you're nestling those seams, okay? So if you're gonna, and you can finger press it open too, or iron it, whatever, but the point is one has to go one direction and one has to go the other. That way your nestling is easier and it's not a big bulk on your seam. That's what you have when you're finished. You press it any way you want. Now we're going to take this here and we're going to make sure that your geese are downward. Okay, and we're only doing 2 now. We're not doing all 4. And you're going to attach this to the right and that to the left. Okay, no matching up seams. I forgot how much this black fabric, whenever you use it, collects everything. I mean, every piece of dust and everything you got in your house, it's collecting it. Go ahead and make sure you do both of them. I'm going to do both right now. Now you want to be sure that when you do it on this other side, I flipped it over, so the part that's got the most bulk is at the bottom this time instead of the top. I do notice that when it has a lot of bulk at the very beginning, when you start sewing, it'll actually make your stitches smaller because it is trying to pull through the thickness of your fabric. And the reason you want to be careful this direction is you don't want the flap on the end of that flying geese to turn over on you. Okay, so now you're going to have 2 of these, and that's correct. And even if you did them the other direction, here, I'll show you. That was fine too. Either way, it doesn't make a difference. Although I said to do it the other way, but don't worry about it. Now what they want us to do is we're going to start building our block. So we're going to take those 4 squares that we made. We're going to take the 2 leftover flying geese, which is what you should have, and we're going to point them inward. So notice the nose of the geese is going into the square. Okay, and this is how they have it laid out. They have it laid out so that it is the big hearts at the top and then the bottom left, top right, bottom left. We'll just take this. Now you want to be real careful because this is where we don't want to lose our nose, and I'm going to show you how to mark it if you haven't done this before. All right, so I have the red pen, and I'm going to mark it right above the crisscross of the sewing, not right on it. And if I do it enough, I'll be able to see it, and I'm going to go beyond, which actually trains your eye to see it better. I know it doesn't sound like it would, but it does. See how you can actually see it on there, red on that black? That's because by drawing it out here on the right and the left, it actually helps your eye adjust to be able to see that across it. So go ahead and mark both of your flying geese, and then we're going to put them together, and you want to go right in the middle here. And I'm going to go ahead and put a pin on mine. When I pin mine, if you've watched my videos before, I pin on each side first, then I pin in the middle, and then I pin, and that holds it all together. And I'm going to go ahead and do both of these, and then I will just chain stitch them. I'll do one, cut it, and do the other. All right, and we're just going to chain both sides. I don't know about you guys, but boy, has this weather really made my hands dry. I am constantly using, and I don't really want to use hand lotion because it's kind of greasy, so I try to find all these alternatives. Now be careful when you go up here to your line that you've drawn, because you want to make sure you go across it. I'm going to go as close to my pin as I can get without touching it. There we go. And then just pull it along a little bit here. There we go. There we are. And I'll show you what I used today on my hands. But I constantly got to use it because I feel like the more I do, the more dried out they get. I'll show you here when I get done. Let's go ahead and turn this. I'm going to cut it and flip it. And my house isn't really that dry. I don't have a one of those dehumidifiers or anything, but I don't have central heat. So central heat versus oil. If you have central heat, your air will be more dry than if you have oil. I did have central air in the last house I owned back in the other state before I moved here, so I know, because in the wintertime, boy, we were constantly shocking everybody as we walked by and touched people, or even the items like your countertop, or it doesn't make any difference what you touched, you were shocking it. But I don't go around shocking anything in this house. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to iron these open. Alrighty, no tips lost. That's the important thing. I went ahead and I ironed it towards the inside, okay, just to let you know. And now they're going to have us put these other ones on, which are the last 2 strips. And to make the star, we need to make sure that our flying geese is going upward, okay, which is into the fabric, just like this, to make it, okay. And then here's the stuff that I was telling you about. And remember now, if you watched my Walmart unboxing, this little bottle is called Drench and Quench by Bliss. This is what came in there. And it doesn't rub on your hands like a regular. Let me see if we can read it. 30 seconds. I don't really see where it says what's in it. Huh. I don't know what's in it, but I'm going to tell you, it only takes a little bit, and it doesn't feel like a regular hand lotion. It's hard to explain what it feels like. I haven't been to Walmart to see if I can find another one of these, but every time I do Fort Worth Fabric Studio, this is what I use on my hands. I've noticed it's specifically, I don't know why it's with the Fort Worth Fabric Studio, but that's the one that I use this stuff with, so I was just letting you know. Now, Fort Worth Fabric Studio doesn't carry this, but they do carry the lock block if you guys are interested in that when it comes to doing half square triangles. Just letting you know. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these together. Now, remember, we have to mark these also because we don't want to be losing these tips, so we're going to mark them before we put them on. Alrighty, so we are nestling this right here, and it just so happens that when I pressed mine, I pressed the flying geese and the 3-inch squares to the dark side, which is to the left here, and this to the center, so that matched up perfect. So what you do when you nestle is you put your seams together just like that. Alrighty, and then you pin it just like this. Okay, do the other end also. That's what I'm doing. So nestle it. And the reason I'm pinning on the left side is so that my fabric does not flip over as I sew down it. And then when it comes to the middle, let me see if I can straddle this camera real quick. Take this right here, and there's your middle. I've already got it marked. And you're trying to match it up to this right here so that it goes right in the middle. Okay, then you're going to pin it. Just like this. Okay, and that's it. All right, and I got it right in the middle. And then I'll go and I'll put a pin on the left here. And this is just me being cautious. On the left, and then I'll do one on the right. Whoops, not there. Let me pull this back so you can see it. So I'm going to do one between the middle and here. I'll press it with my hands to get it evened out. Then I'll do it to the same thing over here. Press like this. And that's it. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin the other side. Same way. Okay, now we're coming up to the end. Let's get this pinned. Let's get this sewn. Be careful when you get up to the part that's got your marks. I really enjoyed this week 3. Next week we'll be putting it all together. And I guess you've already heard, if you're watching following the Facebook group and the website, or it's actually the Facebook group for Fort Worth Fabric Studios, we're coming out with another one. So that is going to be for St. Patty's Day. You know I got that aversion to the color green, but I can't possibly be every color of green I don't care for. So I have decided to go ahead and make one also. So we'll have a giveaway for that too, remember. Always going to have a giveaway. Always nice to share. Can't wait to see that one. I'm a little surprised by it, but I am happy by it. It's wonderful. They always come up with such good ideas. Bet you there's going to be, and I haven't done this block, and I'm just guessing, just like you guys are all guessing. I'm hoping there is a 4-leaf clover block in that when we make it. I think, who was it? I cannot think of her name. But anyway, she did one where all 4 blocks were put together, and that's what they were. Never did get that pattern. Didn't do the block or anything, but that'd be nice. Just like I got all the little hugs and kisses, which I hadn't had before in this sew along. I got to do them. And those are great for baby quilts or, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of quilts, that sort of thing. Or just remembrance. All right, let's go ahead and cut it and sew it open. Okay, here is our block for week 3, and I just went over the directions again, and I realized today is the assembly. So let's get this put together. We're going to have a hug. We're going to have the, I'm trying to think what they called it. Hold on one second. Let me look at my piece. Okay, so the next box was called the chain block. So we're going to put the let me see if I got the hugs and the kisses block right. All right, so I believe it is the kisses block, then the chain block, the kisses block, the chain block, the hug block, then the chain block, and then this square goes in the middle, and then the chain block. So let's go ahead and we're going to sew them in rows first before we put any sashing on. Alrighty, there is row number 1, a hug, a chain, and a kiss. Or, excuse me, a kiss, a chain, and a hug. Let's sew those together first. Okay, let's start putting it together. And I've got it pinned everywhere now. There's nothing special about this. No, you don't need to do any kind of, I was going to say hugging. I got the word nestling. No kind of nestling going on here. I was thinking of the blocks already. And they are in a specific order if you're following along on the pattern. Just so that you do know. I am so sorry. Somehow I had on here that it was going for another week. And of course, you know, in my introduction, I just said week 3. I didn't even say 3 and the assembly. Now, I hope that next weekend, because I don't think I'm going to have it this weekend. I got 3 more videos to do today. And I'll try to edit one of them or a couple of them this week. But they take so much time that I tried that already once. Let me go ahead and cut this and I'll pin my next section on. Alrighty, now I did flip this upside down just so y'all know. Okay, that's why it doesn't have the black fabric on the other side. I flipped it upside down so I could sew it the same way I just did the last one. Okay, and it doesn't make any difference, whichever way you want to do it, but I felt more comfortable doing it this way than the other way, so. But anyway, so I tried to edit a video during the week. I took the, we got off a little early one day, so I came home, I took my shower, I made myself something to eat so I could sit right there at the computer while I was doing my editing. And I started the editing. And then now this is not putting it up. This is just literally editing the video. The video was only like 20 minutes. That's my taping time now. That's not the actual time of the finished video. That's my time that I taped. And I went ahead and I clocked it so I would have an idea. Now mind you, this is me after work. So I've already worked a full day. It took me 3.5 hours. I'm trying to think. I was done by 8:30. And normally I am letting my dogs out and going to bed at 9 in order to get up at 5. And they've pushed it back and I've been getting up anywhere between 4 and 4:30 now. Still going to bed at 9. There we go. This is what it looks like. I don't have it ironed yet, but I was just letting you know. And so when I got done with that video, I was totally exhausted. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this every night after work because I don't get home early every night after work. Normally I end up staying late. And to spend 3.5, 4 hours sitting behind the computer trying to editing just was like, oh, I can't do it. But anyway, so I got this one done. Now the next one is going to be this block on the left and the right of the square. Of the star that we just did. Alrighty, so that's the next thing because I'm going to sew these in strips first. So we'll have 3, or I shouldn't say strips, 3 rows, and we'll put our rows together before we put our sashing on. That also was on my, if you remember, that was on the picture when I first started and I showed you the layout of the fabric. The strips were on that little design board. Okay, so this is the chain, that right there. So that'll be on one side and this will be on the other side. So let's go ahead and we're going to chain stitch because I'll do those 2 and then we'll do the last row also. Alrighty, now we're going to have to mark these tips because if we don't, we'll lose them and we don't want to lose our tips. So go ahead and mark them like I showed you, and I might have to get a white marker out here because I can't really see with that pink since my black is on both sides. So I'm just using this chalk marker here, and I went ahead and I put my ruler right up where the 2 pieces of seams are so that we can see them. And then you'll need to nestle these, so make sure that one of the seams is going one way and the other seam is going the other way. So I ironed this seam to go to the left so that it would be open and I could see it. And so we just have to sit and pin it. Alright, got to retract what I said. They don't nestle. Look at the picture here. Look at the star tip. They are below. This is when I went to pin it. I saw that. Here's our, let's see if I can get my finger in here. Here's the square. Here's the star tip. It's not nestled against that. Okay? So I'm going to pin it and then show it to you. Alright, so I went ahead and I pinned it, and I will show it to you when I get done sewing it. Oh, and I made a comment in another video earlier about how we were going to cut it and then iron it, and when I said that, I hope y'all realize that I meant I was cutting it off of the sewing machine, not cutting the fabric. I forgot to go back and tell you that, because when I got done, after I said we were going to cut it, and I thought, wait a minute, it sounded like we were going to cut our fabric. It's like, oh my gosh. A chance to go outside. We got snow between, I think it was early this morning. Haven't had a chance to shovel anything yet, but I don't know if it's going to get warm enough to get rid of it or what the heck it's going to do. Now, if you guys had an open-toed foot, okay, this would be pretty easy to see as you come across this seam also. If you're worried about not seeing your stitches and missing them and coming too high or too low. Open toe just means that all of this right here, where all this metal is, that's all open so that you can see as you come straight down towards your fabric. I'll show you one real quick. They come in actually plastic as well as metal. I have a metal one that came with my machine, but I bought a plastic one. You wouldn't want to use the plastic one on heavy fabric though, because it would slide. Okay, so this is the foot I was talking to you about. See how it's opened? And you could use it on this Fort Worth Fabric Studio fabric. This is the one that's plastic I told you about. It's also the same thing. But this has a tendency to slip on your fabric if you don't have enough holding it down. So I would use a metal one. But then you can see when you're coming across. And I'll show it on the next one on the other side that I have to do. I'm going to show you using this foot what I'm talking about, so you'll have a better understanding of it. Alrighty, I put the foot on. There's the open-toed foot. So let's see here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So when you come up on it, I can see exactly where I drew my line. Let me take this pin out. And I actually need to hold down on that thing because there we go. It's going to jump that seam. There we go. And that'll keep it from flipping under or not. There we go. And then just buzzing right along here. There you go. And see, I can see it. This way, if you're doing any kind of decorative stitches, you could see them too. Now I gotta go up real nice, slow and easy, because it's a big, let's take this pin out, big lump. There we go. So that's going to be the second roll. We're going to take a look at it. Alrighty, here's the second roll. So it's the chain blocks, the star, and the chain blocks. There's our first row. So let's get the third one going. Alrighty, here's the third row. And remember now, if you're following the kit, you're going to have your light color on your hug on the top left. Alrighty? The only other way to do it would be that way. And that's not based on the kit. I'm just going with the kit, alright? And then for the kiss, it's up here at the top, facing. So you've got a red one here and a white one coming in, just so you know. All right, let's go ahead and put this together. Just a minute. Let's go ahead and sew it. I have my daughter up here and we're having a conversation, so I had to stop my conversation so I could sew this. Because the conversation is not for you guys. I'm sorry.
Unless you're going to talk about getting this unscrewed, which I cannot seem to.
Now, I've already said I was going to have you do it. I do not have a set of pliers up here.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll probably have to go downstairs to the toolbox. I don't have anything up here. Oh, wait a minute, I do. This little bitty pink toolbox over here in the corner. We have it. I forget, I always use the screwdriver or the little hammer and that little dowel to knock in the nails that are on the floor. Remember the wooden floor down here below our feet? Mm-hmm. And I always forget about that little toolbox.
Stuff right over here trying to unscrew this, and you have a toolbox up here?
Well, hold on a second. I forgot about it. Well, I thought maybe you could get it. I just thought maybe that was just too weak, but apparently it's...
No, it's just on there really tight.
Okay. So, I don't know if it tightened itself, because, you know, I wouldn't tighten it that tight. I won't. Alrighty, we didn't get it on the camera because my camera froze, and when it freezes, it stops. So the right one didn't get done, but this is the third row. I'm going to iron all the rows open, and we're going to connect the first one with the second one. Let's do that first. All right, don't forget now, on the long piece, the first and the second strips, you're marking so that you don't lose the tips off the bottom end of your flying goose. So here's the way it sits like this, long ways. Let me show you here. This is the way I'm pinning it. And I marked that right there, so I'll go ahead, and I've already got a pin. See, there's a pin at the right, pin at the left, and then I'll do these and pin it in the middle. Okay, hold on. So let's go ahead and we're going to do this row. I'm trying to get these rows done real quick. I need to eat something, but I don't want to stop sewing. Have y'all ever been like that? And then I got to put the sashing on too. And I did not, and I'm going to let you know right off the bat, I did not match up when I was doing these, and I'm not sure. I cannot tell by my picture whether they're supposed to be matching or not, and mine didn't match, so they're off a hair, and it could be that they're not supposed to be off a hair. but I'm leaving them off a hair. I'm telling you. I was gonna say I was doing so good. I hate to even say this because as soon as you put it out there, you know what happens. And that is I haven't hit any of my pins. I've been lucky. I was scared to say that because now I'm gonna hit one.
I watched a guy sew something. He had pins all over his thing, you know, on a straight line, and he just ran right over every. I was like, aren't you afraid of breaking your needle when you're, I mean, whatever he was sewing together, he just kept going. He never took the pins out or anything.
Yeah, but with these new electronic computers, I mean, sewing machines, which are like computers, it'll bust your motherboard. And
I have no idea what kind of machine he was using or anything. All I saw was he was sewing something, and I cringed when he ran over the needles.
I've already replaced a motherboard in my FOF, and I'm going to tell you, first off, you don't replace it with a brand new motherboard because they don't make them. They're refurbished. And it happened. I got it replaced. I didn't even go 6 months. It happened again. I had it replaced. Over $400 for that motherboard. Yeah. And then I have on that machine, there's a little light here, okay, right by the needle. And it would tell you when your bobbin was low and needed to be changed. And he even told me, now that I've changed out your motherboard, that probably will not work.
Oh, gee.
But it worked both times. Yep. And when I went in the first time, because I had to have it redone, I said to him, that little thing works. And he goes, well, I'm just going to let you know, I can't guarantee it when I change it out with this motherboard, because sometimes they don't work. And it does work, but I found that I cannot sew with that sewing machine more than 4 hours. That's what blows that motherboard now.
Oh.
So that's only good for just sewing, just very little.
Something, and that's it.
So I have literally parked that machine. That was my very first electronic machine. It cost me over $1,000. It was almost $2,000 for the machine. That was way back when they first came out. So it's like, no. And it could have been the area that I bought it at, too, that was the reason for the price.
You heard that, didn't you?
Well, I made the comment to Megan last night. I said, God, it was cold enough that you could see your breath. And I said, I feel bad. And it was snowing. It was snowing last night when we went to bed, or well, before I went to bed.
Yeah.
And I said, I feel bad for that dog standing out there on that porch. There's no cover on that porch.
Ooh.
And that dog is just barking away, and I'm thinking, do those people even know what's going on outside? The temperature or anything?
It's their dog. They know. They don't
No,
care.
there's like 3 or 4 people in that place that own 3 to 4 big dogs, and they put them all out on the back porch. It's a big porch like my next door neighbor's porch. Except they never take them in. Those dogs just sit out there and bark about everything.
Yes, I know. The one, I can hear him on my street.
Gosh.
He's a big dog, and he has a big bark.
He's got a deep bark.
Yes, and he does not stop.
I feel sorry for the animals. It's like those people, mind you, I understand the people are renting a room. Okay?
A room,
well,
not even an apartment, it's just a room, a bedroom.
Well, it's a townhouse, and that girl that owns that townhouse, I don't know if she bought it or her parents bought it or who bought it, but she's renting out all the different rooms for people, and then all those people have animals. Well, you know what? Maybe you need to go out and walk your dog. I've never seen those dogs walked, ever.
They're not walked.
That's just it. Why do you want a pet? Those big dogs have to be walked. They're not little apartment dogs. That's what I call what we got. We got apartment dogs. Little Yorkies and things like that are small, that are 5 pounds, and even a 10-pound dog can be an apartment dog. They don't need to be walked. You can sit and we can wear Dewey out right there, throwing a toy, tossing a toy, and he'll go chase it. He's literally, after we've done it, after me and Megan have done it a couple times, he sat there and just went. We wore him out.
Oh, he's out of shape. You didn't wear him out.
You're funny.
Just like us. If you throw a ball to me a couple times, I'll be doing the same thing.
Well, first off, I'm not going to go chase a ball. I don't care.
Okay, a frisbee. There you go.
But the point is, I just feel so bad.
I do.
There's a couple of them that are Labradors. They're the Golden Labs, but I don't know if the other one is what's the other dog that constantly I think of it as a Labrador, but it's not. Same color, but it's got hair. Oh, shoot. It's got long fur. What's it called? What's her name had one? Paula out at work had one. Hers just died recently. Golden Retriever?
A Labrador Retriever?
What's a Golden Retriever versus a Labrador? Are they the same thing?
I don't know. I gotta Google this.
I know
I
that
thought
one
a
of the
golden retriever
was the one with the long hair.
and it's
Okay,
golden.
so one of them is a golden retriever, or two of them are, and then the other one is a Labrador retriever because it's got short hair. But I don't think any of them belong to the same person. I think they're all different people's animals. I've never even heard them go out there and call their names or nothing. Now those dogs aren't standing there barking at the door. They're barking opposite.
The golden retriever is one that has all the fur. Because I used to live where I used to live before I live now. Across the street, they had a golden retriever, and they had that invisible fence. Remember?
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Sometimes that doesn't work on a dog. I'm telling you right
It
now.
worked on theirs.
Yeah, I saw that it worked.
Probably wouldn't work on the lady. Well, another lady who had a husky. Yeah, she had a husky.
Alrighty, here we go. Sherry's holding it up for me. Ignore the mess behind her. Don't look behind the curtain. Anyway, that's it. Now we're going to put the sashing on. Alright, who thought that sounded like the Wizard of Oz? Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put them on the sides. So you should have 4 strips. You don't need to be sewing your strips to each other. You're going to put one on each side, and then you're going to put, and I'm pinning mine, then when you get done doing that, you're going to pin it across the top. So don't pull, and I'm going to pin all the way down. I know a lot of you don't do that. I'm just pinning it because I don't want it to pull. I don't want it to stretch or anything else. If you're, if you're an old pro at this, that's fine. But if you're new, I'm pinning it. And I always like to pin it anyway. So as soon as I get mine pinned, I'm going to sew it. I believe you guys know how to do that. You already know how to put binding on. And I did not cut off my selvage. I just put it a little bit above the selvage. I'll cut that off when I'm done. And I'm making sure that I'm putting the sashing, which is the black part, I'm putting it on top. And then I'm turning down on my seams so that they don't get caught up in the sewing machine. You can do it either way. You can put your black on the bottom or on the top, your fabric A. All right, that's it. Here it is. That's the quilt. I'm going to go ahead and put the light on so you can see it, but isn't that darling?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, all those little squares. They really set it off. Okay, I got a little bit more light on it. That's what it looks like. Sherry's holding it here in the hallway. So now I've just got to sandwich it and get it quilted. I want to put this on my end table, like I told you guys. Well, I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. You can make a comment, ring the little bell so you get more. And don't forget now, we're going to have the St. Patty Day one starting up, which will be pretty soon. So we'll watch for those kits to be coming out shortly and the giveaway by me. Okay? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.